What if I told you exactly how to use AI to create Shopify sections that you want to add to your store? And what if you didn't need any coding or design skills at all? And what if it was free? Well, that's what we're doing today, folks. I found this awesome section on Amiet's store that has a dynamic slider showing before and after images, and I'm going to show you how I used V0 to create this section for me in a matter of minutes. My name is Nick and I create videos like this every week, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and a comment what you'd like to see next. Let's get started. Now, the first thing we want to do is make sure that we actually take a good, clear screenshot of what the section is that we're trying to reproduce here, okay? So once you've gone ahead and done that, you can come to V0, and yes, I still use V0 because I've tried a lot of other different options, and I still find this one to be the best so far, particularly when it comes to Shopify development and replicating screenshots. But what I'm going to do, and keep in mind, by the way, this is the free tier. I'm not paying for this, so anybody can do this. All you have to do is create an account. So I'm going to go in and attach my file. And now that I've attached the file, I'm going to give it some additional instructions. Now, when you're using the free tier, you only get so many prompts per day. So you have to be kind of conservative with how you approach asking it to do things. So I typically like to do it one piece at a time, but when I find more complicated sections, I almost find it easier just to give it all the information at once and then see how it does. So what I'm going to do is give some context with this. I typically say something along the lines of, can you recreate this screenshot for a Shopify store section in a liquid file? It shows a slider, which on the left side shows one image, and on the right side shows another for comparison. On desktop, it should be, and then I like to get some decent measurements because that is one thing I've found that it struggles with is knowing sizing. So if I come into my inspector, I like to hover and see the measurements on a certain image. So I can see this one is about 640 pixels tall. And then I also like to specify the styles to use pixels, just because I found when it uses rem or m, it sometimes, depending on the theme, can really screw things up. So pixels is just an easy way to make this consistent. And then I also like to give separate instructions for mobile as well, because remember, every thing that I can include in this initial prompt is one less thing I need to follow up with when I only have a certain amount of prompts. So I want to make sure I use this the best I can. So it looks like on mobile, it shows the same thing. It's just a little bit smaller. So I'll make sure to ask that it does so. And then lastly, I like to ask it to include any customizable options in this section schema. All right, and then let's give it a go and see what happens. Okay, looks like my code is finished generating. It took me, I don't know, 2 minutes or so. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy all of this. I'm gonna come back to my theme admin and I am going to go into my duplicated theme and hit edit code. And once this is loaded, I'm gonna come into these directories here in sections. I'm gonna add a new file. I'm gonna call this image comparison.liquid. I don't know, there's probably a better name. I'm gonna paste this in and I'm gonna save. And hopefully there's no issues. Okay, so it looks like it's saved. And I can see in the presets, the name is image comparison slider. So now if I come to this icon, I can customize this theme and then I can add this section. So I'll click add section, scroll to the very bottom and you'll see image comparison slider. Okay, so this looks promising. I don't think that it's gonna work though, because that doesn't look like I can drag that. So let's just add some images, see what happens. Okay, so it looks like it gave us some decent customizable options here. So it lets us change some of the text that shows up. But for now, I want to make sure that this even works. So I'm going to save. I've added a white and a black t-shirt. Let's see if this will actually let us move this slider. So I will come down here to the bottom where our section is. And oh, it does actually work. So, so it kind of works, except that it's not working. It's kind of showing both images on top of one another. So I think I'm gonna have to write a follow-up prompt and hopefully it will be able to figure this out. Curious what it looks like on mobile. Let's see, because when I do give it corrective measures, I like to include as much as I can possibly. So this is very close, but it's just not quite what I want it to be. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna write a follow-up prompt here. I'm gonna say the overall look and functionality is very close to what I want. However, there are a few issues, and then I like to list out the issues separately. I'd also like the dragging bar to be a little bit more clear. So it should be more clear that this is what you can click and drag on. So I'm going to say that as well. And I think that's really all. I mean, obviously the functionality doesn't quite work. So let's just try this and see how it goes. Okay, and it looks like a minute or two later, the new code is ready. So what I'm going to do, and I like to add it as a new section so that I can still compare the differences and preserve what was there, if that makes sense. So I'm going to come back and create a new section. I'm going to call it image comparison 2 dot liquid. And then I'm going to paste this all in, and I'm going to, of course, add a number 2 there as well so I can be sure. And now if I come back to my theme editor, I'm going to refresh, and I'm going to add this new section. It should be at the very bottom. All right, so I do like that this bar is kind of what I was looking for. So let's add a couple of photos again. We'll do white, and then I will do black. Looks like I can still see the issue occurring, but we'll give it a go. Let me hit save, and I will refresh. And here at the bottom, all right, and yeah, so I can still see the issue where the left white t-shirt is showing on top of the black shirt, or underneath, sorry, the black shirt. So I will try and prompt this again and see if it's able to fix that. So I'm gonna say the slider bar looks much better. However, there is still an issue with the images overlaying one another. When I slide to the right side, the left image is still showing on the right side beneath the right image. Hopefully it's able to decipher this. The left image should be completely hidden on the right side of the slider. Let's try that and see. I'm running out of prompts here, so let's hope that this works. All right, so we have our new code again. Let's try this one more time. They say third time's the charm, right? So I will come back, and again, I'm going to create a new image, a new section here. I will call it image comparison 3.liquid. I'm going to paste this code in. I'm going to add a 3 here so I can make sure I'm getting the right one. I'm going to come back to my theme editor. I'm going to refresh, and I'm going to add this new section down at the bottom. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add my white t-shirt on the left side. I'm going to go ahead and add my black t-shirt on the right. All right, and okay, so let's try saving this and see what it looks like. So down at the bottom, we have our newest section. And actually, this looks a lot better. It's not 100% perfect. This looks like it's working pretty darn well. I can see this very, very, very faint white outline, but that actually might be from the black t-shirt image itself, if that makes sense. So I actually think this is working as expected. So I'm actually pretty pleased with this. Let's check it out on mobile, and it looks like it's working there too. So this is exactly what I was hoping for. This is pretty good for only giving it 3 prompts. If we come back and look at the code just slightly, well, let's look at these customizations. So you can see, again, make sure we're in the right, most recent section. So we can change the label, right, before image, after image. So obviously that's pretty explanatory. And then we have alt text, okay, but these labels is what I want to focus on. So this is no folding, after folding, right? Obviously you would say like white or black. And then the brand text as well, if you want to give like the actual product name perhaps, or something like that. And then it even gives us some additional styling that we can set, so we can specify the height ourselves. So I'm actually pretty happy with this. I think this is a pretty good use case for using V0's AI. I hope that it's been helpful and that you can, continue to use this process for your own designs that you come up with. And if you liked it, make sure to like this video and consider subscribing if you want videos like this every week. But I appreciate you sticking it out with me, and I will see you next time.